Today we're breaking down Patchy Mix, where Santi's going to do a traditional breakdown. I'm going to do more of a post-fight debut type of breakdown. So let's get into it.
Today we are going to be talking about Patchy Mix. Now, Patchy Mix is coming from Bellator. He was the Bellator Bantamweight champion. He ruled the Bantamweight division. There was a certain point where Patchy Mix and Sean O'Malley got into it a couple years back because Patchy Mix claimed to be the best bantamweight in the world. And it was kind of hard not to have this sort of argument or at least be intrigued by it because Patchy Mix was destroying people in Bellator. He's finally made his way over to the UFC, and the UFC has done what they have done to everybody coming from Bellator or any of these secondhand promotions. They feed him to the wolves. The Bellator commentator has said it so many times, but it is such a good nickname, the human backpack. That is exactly what Patchy Mix is. And that's exactly what he's been doing in Bellator. He almost reminds me of Aljamain Sterling in terms of the way he fights in his wrestling. He pressures guys, gets to those overhooks, gets to those clinch positions, or gets to the double legs, and slowly starts making transitions towards the back. And when it gets to that back, when he gets to your back, it is game over. His body triangles is extraordinary. His ability to change his body triangles so quickly so that it's really impossible to really ever get out of is extraordinary. It's pretty unbelievable to look at. And Patchy Mix's resume kind of speaks for itself. He has fought guys who has been in the UFC and went to Bellator. He hasn't fought just straight scrubs. Horiguchi, Sergio Pettis, Magomedov is another really good win. These are wins that Patchy Mix has kind of looked dominant in, and it's kind of the same sort of pace and the sort of style that we have seen Patchy Mix thrive in. And apart from his elite grappling, I think that pace and his way of getting to the fight or getting his way of the fight is through his fight IQ. I think he is a very intelligent fighter. His movements and his pressuring is very methodical, and he will eventually get your back to that cage. Certain flaws I see is something like his striking. I don't think his striking is anything to be wowed about. I don't think his striking defense is anything to be wowed about. However, in the sport of the 135 division, the jiu-jitsu game has shown that it has worked. It has shown that it has succeeded against certain styles. And a guy as big as Patchy Mix, 5'11" at this 135 division, his elite grappling can show out against these elite strikers. Aljamain Sterling made a 135 career out of being just an elite grappler who has pretty good stand-up. Although, yes, don't get me wrong, I'm kind of undermining how good Aljamain was. I think Patchy Mix, though, has the ability to be sort of like an Aljamain in this division. Be a guy that can pressure, get to the back, and get that submission. And when he gets to that back, it's just game over. I would also love to see Patchy Mix mix in some more ground and pound. He doesn't really strike too much with his hands, at least. In the Sergio Pettis fight, we saw his ability to use wonderful knees from the ground, and a lot of people don't use that anymore. Being able to be a grounded opponent and kneeing to that body is just so painful, and I don't think people are utilizing that enough, and I think Patchy Mix needs to utilize it more. Using the ground and pound and causing these crazy scrambles can get you to the submissions that you want. Patchy Mix's 13 of 20 wins have been by submission. 13 submissions. It's crazy to think about. He is a submission ace. And if you cause these scrambles that can lead to these guillotines, darces, back takes, or better positions, you can lead to more submissions and more of an effective ground game. I think ground and pounds opens up the submission game. And Patchy Mix can definitely, open the can, as people say. Now, I did comment on his striking earlier, but I do want to say he uses his range very well in the strike. His ability of using jab, crosses, and teeps, and even knees when people try to blast or try to get through the void. Patchy Mix has a wonderful style of using long-range attacks and then smothering somebody against the cage to then go to the takedowns, go to these wrestling exchanges. Patchy Mix has such a complete arsenal and a complete set of a game plan that it's interesting to see how good his striking can get. If this guy starts developing some longer range strikes with more feints and more, power and speed and more conviction to his striking, we could be seeing a 135 champ from Bellator. And I don't think Dana's going to want to hear that from me. I don't think Dana is ever going to hear this from me. Now, Patchy Mix is not a guy from Bellator who has been a guy that's constantly won and has been undefeated, and this is just an overconfident man. This is a guy who has gotten setbacks, who has gotten losses on his record, and his ability to bounce back and look better than before has shown, because he's 20-1, and that one loss was against Juan Archuleta, who had overall just a game to beat Patchy Mix at the time. Patchy was just not ready for a guy like Juan, And we saw after the fight, Patchy Mix kind of evolved into a more dominant and more of a badass fighter. He became a guy to smother and get to the game plans that I was talking about earlier just quicker. He got it so much quicker and with so much more conviction than before. He rattled off just an incredible winning streak after the Juan Archuleta fight, showing that he can bounce back from setbacks. My personal opinion, I think this guy can be evolved to a top 3 to a champion. He has the record, he has the ability, he has the physical advantages. I don't see why a guy like Patchy Mix won't really make this 135 division super interesting at least. And if you have the time, look at these Patchy Mix videos on YouTube. This guy is a prodigy. He is someone that is going to create waves and splashes in the UFC, and I personally can't wait for it.
And bouncing off of what Santi says in the whole breakdown, Patchy just did not look like himself, and you saw during the whole fight, he did not really shoot whatsoever. And that is his game. Submissions, back takes. Santi said it. He is a human backpack. I mean, this guy excels on the ground, and his finishes come from submissions. It looked like Patchy was trying to prove a point to Mario Bautista, saying that he can't strike like he can. Obviously, Mario Bautista had one of the greatest shocking performances I've seen out of anyone in UFC. I mean, I almost wrote Bautista off, and he comes in and his significant strikes just look great. I mean, this guy is fast, he's quick, and Patchy just, his defense was not there, his striking defense at least. I mean, this guy's not moving his head. He is hitting it and he's just staying right here. He's waiting to get hit, and Mario Bautista just quite literally battered his head off, whether it was with the 1-1-2. But this was not the Patchy Mix that we know. Santi broke down the actual Patchy Mix. The one that we saw, we have no clue. And I don't know if it's because of the layoff, the year layoff that it took for him to get over to the UFC, or whether he's just not up to this level yet. I don't know, but Patchy Mix, the only thing that he really did was maybe hurt him one time and then did the Nate Diaz kind of like, you know, where he's getting the crowd going. I mean, Patchy Mix, this was the whole fight for Patchy Mix. Left hand high, and then slapping 3. Slap 3. Slap 3. Slap 3. Where's the takedown? Where's the back control? We did not see it. And honestly, as a fan of mixed martial arts and just seeing Bellator champions come over, this is very depressing. And this is very much of a disappointment. I mean, when you're looking at it from both sides, Mario Bautista probably had one of his best fights that he's ever had. And Patchy Mix has probably had one of his worst fights he's ever had. So, like Santi said, I mean, I am still ecstatic to see him in the UFC and to see if he could actually make a run in this division that is so stacked now. I mean, we just saw Sean O'Malley lose, getting submitted by Merab. I mean, this division is just getting better in all facets of the game. And if Patchy Mix, that is a submission specialist, a ground wrestling jiu-jitsu guy, can possibly rise through the ranks and maybe challenge Merab later, we could see some fun things happen. But this is definitely a setback nonetheless, and I want to know what you guys think. I mean, just seeing the breakdown before who he was going into this debut, did you think that he was going to beat Mario? Because I did. Santi did. Here at Studs, we thought Bautista was gone and Patchy was in, and we were wrong. So let me know what you guys think. Drop in the comments. But if you guys like this type of breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, it has been Studs.